Do 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 do. What?
Nothing.
Oh my man, peeps! It's been since Christmas. I mean, are you kidding me? It's been since Christmas, and I've got a lot of excitement built up in me because we are back at SGP
Excellent.
Stirring the Pot, and we are here with one of our good friends. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid, and my very special guest, Nic Carcieri. Welcome
Thank,
back to the show, my friend. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you. And you know what's funny, Don? I was looking, you're looking on Facebook and memories pop up. It was actually 2 years ago tomorrow, not today, but 2 years ago tomorrow was the last time I was on.
Oh
Almost to
wow,
the day.
that is way too long, but we all know I'm not that bright, you
I
know,
thought
and
it
I'm
was great because almost to the day.
wow, that's actually pretty amazing. So, hey, there's a little sync going on, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So obviously, obviously it's been a minute. Um, Mr. Carcieri,
Yes,
we have gone through some troubling times.
we have.
When we did speak, that was kind of at the beginnings of what I
Yes.
was doing with SCP and doing it Skype version instead of in person.
Right.
And we got you at the beginnings of that. And here we are, man. This has got to be like episode 320 something or 307.
That's
37.
amazing.
I don't know if it's that high, but I know it's right around three teens, if
Yeah.
you will. Again, it's been a minute. But I did want to speak on something real quick because we've been through a lot of troubling times since we've last spoke
Yeah.
with the whole Corolla, Crayola, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on there. And obviously you're good. You look beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
We pushed through, my
We
man.
did.
We pushed through.
We did.
And here we are. And the reason why I bring that up is because we have not spoken in such time. You are, if I'm not mistaken, the proprietor, the owner, the promoter, the booker, the marketer, the everything that is Watch This Fight Wrestling. Am I not mistaken there?
Well, you're not mistaken. I mean, I am. I prefer to just say I'm the founder of it. It is definitely. While it was, I did start it. You would say I'm the founder. It is definitely a team effort, and I could not do it at all these last couple of years without the help of a lot of people. So there's a lot of people who contribute, but I do wear a lot of hats. That's for sure.
We do say, just to run one event, it takes a village, it takes an army,
It does.
just to even pull one event off. And we have spoken about such promotion in our previous conversation.
Yes.
And I know we've spoken upon what you do in the industry besides. And I think, I don't mean to carbon copy what we did previous, but it has been a little bit. So I think we're just going to kind of stay on those same topics, if that's
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I have seen, and a couple of the talent have reached out to me, are you coming up this way? Because we've got some stuff happening with Watch This Fight. Green is
Yes.
the next event coming up for Watch This Fight. And I kind of want to use that as a nucleus for this interview. And I know we're supposed to be talking about Mr. Nic Carcieri,
Okay.
but these events that you put on, you give them color codes, if you will, for specific charities.
Correct.
I'm not mistaken on that.
No, you're not.
So please describe to us the date, all the deets on that one. But when you start us off, could you tell us what the color green is standing for at this specific event?
Sure. Like you said, each of our events, we do a color, and we usually associate that color with, you always see the awareness ribbons for various charities. So that's where we go. And to be honest, it's easier than coming up with names for each show. But anyhow, no. So this one, this show came about, and I'll just briefly. I have a friend, Ted Clement, who is involved with the theater program at the Community College of Rhode Island. Huge wrestling fan. Late last year, Ted approached me and he said, "Is there any way we can get a wrestling event at CCRI?" And I said, "Absolutely." He had seen my involvement with Watch This Fight. he was a fan of not only the wrestling aspect of it, but the charity aspect of it. So, we had to jump through some hoops because it's a state college, but eventually it happened. So we picked green because green is the school color of CCRI, the Knights as they are, the KNIGHTS, the CCRI Knights. Green is their school color, green and silver. So we picked green to go along with the school. And green, one of the things that green represents is mental health awareness. And especially coming out of the last couple of years of COVID, and mental health awareness is something that's very important. My real job, in the fire service, we have seen a lot of problems with suicide and mental health awareness. So it is something that I'm passionate about, and it's something that I think is a very real. It's a very real thing in the world that needs the awareness, needs people to look at it. So there is an organization that, because I asked Ted, I said, is there an organization that's part of the school or that students are involved with? And there's an organization that the students are involved with called Friendsway. And what Friendsway specializes in is bereavement counseling, bereavement support for kids and teenagers who lose someone to either like suicide or addiction. So they're out there helping these young people with these tragedies in their life. So we thought it was an organization that the CCRI students were passionate about. So we wanted to help that out. So that's where green came from for this event.
All of what you just said, my man, is absolutely impactful all the way around. You're representing the school that approached you and said, hey, I know we can have some fun. Let's try to do something. Yeah. And not only that, we can raise money and we can raise awareness all in the same token. So you've got the school, you've got that whole program within the school. I think that's even cooler. And I know giving to charities is great, and that's what you're striving for. But within the school with the kids, I mean that's just fantastic, my man. That's really really cool.
And the school itself, now that sort of coming out of COVID, this semester the kids are back on campus and they're really trying to bring back campus life. So the school looked at it also as, maybe this is something we can, get the students to come out for and sort of get excited about being back on campus and trying to get back to some semblance of, I hate to use the word normal because what is normal? Nothing's normal, but some semblance of, this life after COVID and getting back to, being out there and being involved and being in a world community again,
Absolutely. And again, I applaud Mr. Carcieri for taking on these ventures, because I don't know as much as you do, but such a task taking on to put on an event for wrestling is not easy at all.
It is not. It is certainly has its challenges, and it's the easy part of it is getting the guys, getting the wrestlers, and that's the fun part, and I say that's the easy part, because everybody who is on our shows is because they're passionate about what we're doing. I have a group, sort of a private group on Facebook and I'll put out a date and who's available. Unless somebody's not available, everybody's raising their hand. They all want to be part of it. That's the easy part. Then comes the, the logistics of putting the show on and, getting the ring to the venue and then the setup and the thing. There's so much that goes into it,
Yeah. I have noticed over the course of your watch this fights, never a shortage of talent that wants to be part of these. And once you start your announcements, I notice as a fan, because this doesn't happen in a lot of the places, and even if it is in some of the places, it's only a sprinkle of the people that are part, or the talent, I should say, the talent that become part of these Watch This Fight events. I noticed that they like to share. They want to share. They want to tell people that, hey, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's for this. So come on out. And there isn't a lot of that in the modern wrestling. Um, to be honest with you, I mean, there
Yeah,
is enough. I
sure.
mean, there is enough, and I'm not trying to trash talk wrestling by
No,
any
no, no.
stretch, but seeing that promotion that
Yeah.
the talent give out, it
It
just warms my heart.
and I've had this discussion with some of the guys recently. Recently, we were on Saturday. I saw one of the guys, and we were just having this just a an offhand discussion about that. It's hard because I'm happy that the guys, and women that wrestle for me are also wrestling other places, and everybody's out there doing their thing, and I'm happy for them. But at the same time, it's like, you're always like, oh, can you share this event, and can you share this event, and they want to share the events that they're on, of course, because you want fans and everything. But part of me is a little bit like, come on, can we get some more shares out there? Invite your friends, share the event. But
I feel
in
that.
this world of social media, that's how you get people to notice. That's how you get, so
Absolutely. And that's why, and, and it only takes a little bit. I mean, I share tons of promotions. I share of tons of media from singles wrestlers, tag
mhm.
teams, referees, announcers, you name it. I share multiple platforms of media. Boys and girls, there's no reason why you cannot share those events you're on, those posters you're on, those match cards that you're on.
Right.
Uh, just share those things. It
Yeah,
doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long.
right. It doesn't take that long to click the share button. We know that. But
Yes,
you know,
yes. You know, and I know it's hard as a promoter. It's almost like you want to push the event, but you don't want to have to beg the talent to do
right.
such. And I know there's a catch 22 there. You're just like, come on, boys and girls, let's do our thing.
Yeah. You have to walk that line sometimes
Yes.
between, promoting and getting your stuff out there, but you don't want to shove it down people's throats and,
Mhm.
oh my God, this, all my Facebook friends, his news feed, and all it ever is wrestling. So you got to kind of find that. You got to walk that line sometimes, but that's the world we live in right now. And,
Yeah.
so.
And I've actually made a specific post about that probably, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, maybe even, yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago. I gave props to all of my friends that I've known previous to wrestling because my feed is nothing but wrestling and a sprinkle of family.
Yeah.
And I gave, it's like they got superpowers to hang on, to sift through all of my wrestling crap. And I love them for that. uh, but excuse me. We've spoken on the color, what it represents. We've spoken on a little bit on where it's located. Give us some more details on the date and all of that, and exactly where do we find it, the bell time, all of that good stuff.
Sure. So the location is at the Community College of Rhode Island, the CCRI Warwick. If you're familiar with Rhode Island, it's the Warwick campus. We're in the Bobby Hackett Theater, which is it's a theater in the round style. So it's going to be really cool. The ring right in the middle and the seats sort of all around.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
This Friday night, April 15th. I think that's still tax day. Is April 15th still tax day? I don't know.
It's somewhere around there.
If you have CPA on here sometime, ask him. He would know that. But no, so this Friday night, April 15th, 7:30 bell time. Doors will open at about 7. And that $10 at the door. There is a Facebook event page with a link if you wanted to buy tickets ahead of time, or just $10 at the door. And again, all the proceeds from the door sales are going to Friendsway. So it's a good way to have some fun, see some good wrestling, help out a worthy organization. We've got I want to say this is one of our best cards. I mean, you always, as a promoter, you always like to say this, is this the best?
This is the best one.
This is a really good card.
Would you
go ahead.
Would you go on a limb and say it's the most stupendous watch this fight ever?
I'd go on a limb and say that. Yeah, I'd go out on that limb.
Could you just maybe give us 2 matches that right off the top of just a couple, so we don't have to go through I mean, if you want to go through the whole card, I mean, I'm a wrestling guy. I'll listen to wrestling all day. But if you can just rattle off a couple of matches off of your head, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, well, so I was gonna say, so I guess I don't know if you say unfortunately because they were great champions, but our tag team champions, the Hollywood Balds, excuse me.
This is a family. Well, not really. It's not a family show.
Cipriano Abruzzi and Christopher Dozer. Unfortunately, they retired, and so they vacated the tag belts. But we wish them the best in success, and they represented and watched this fight, with pride and dignity, and it's time for just to move on to other things. But since the tag titles have been vacated, now we have a triple threat of the losers, who are Sean Leader and Tom Billington.
The losers.
The Hispanic mechanics, Jose and Jose B. And fit to be tied, Mike Grassa and Smiley, the Psycho Lucha.
Oh, okay, everybody calm down. Are you kidding me? You put those two together in a tag team?
Mike and Smiley, they've been a tag team for a while.
No, I got that. Yeah. But you, as a promoter, I mean, you have to be a little bit crazy to get these two in your building. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So those three teams, the Mechanics, the Losers, and Fit to be Tied, a tag team triple threat. The winners will be named the new Watch This Fight Tag Champions.
Wow. Excellent. Okay.
We have the return of our Smiley. My head is thinking of the Fanny Pack Scramble.
Ooh, I've seen that. Yes.
Yes. The 5 contestants to 1 pinfall, the winner of which gets a fanny pack. Oh. We have in that match is I know you're familiar with the Mighty Bosch.
Yes, my tag team partner.
Yes, your tag team partner, the Mighty Bosch.
My tag team partner.
Robbie the Giant will be in that.
It's Rob the Giant, my friend.
Sorry,
it's
Rob the Giant.
Rob the Giant. Yeah, let's calm down there.
So Mighty Bosch, Rob the Giant, the strongest man in the whole wide room, Theodore J. Liftington. One BC kid who I'm a little familiar with.
Oh wow.
And Alessandro Russo. So those 5 are competing for the Watch This Fight Green fanny pack.
Is the fanny pack like laced in gold or dipped in like gold leaf, or what do we got going on with
we
the
don't
fanny
have that
pack?
in the budget. It's just
Are there prizes inside said fanny pack?
There have been in the past. We've done sort of a Money in the Bank gimmick where the winner of the fanny pack got to challenge, one of the champions. When we were originally doing our tournament to name the first champion, the fanny pack winner got a bid into the tournament. So we've done some things in there in the past.
All right.
We have just sort of a feature match. 2 guys that have been wrestling in this area in the Northeast for many, many years, have had been across the ring from each other many times. Always bring the fight. So they're going to do it one more time. That would be Riot Kellen Thomas and the Masshole Mike McCarthy.
Oh, shit. I am down for. Oh, wow. I'm trashing the set. I am down with. Wow, I'm going to.
So, and a little extra addition to that is Kellen is an alumni of CCRI. He graduated there in 2007. So this is sort of his home. He's got the home court advantage. I don't know if you can say that in wrestling, but the home court advantage, and the Masshole's coming in, and we'll see how that goes.
I am so in on that one. Wow. I'm sorry I popped like that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We have a women's triple threat with Isana, Deja Simone, and the Great Warrior Wolf, Nicole Matala.
Oh, that's going to be fire.
Yeah. And then our main event is the reigning and defending Watch This Fight champion AJP versus one Rick Recon.
Oh shit! AJP, I love you, my man. We know I got some love for AJP. He's got a tall order ahead of him for that championship.
He does. Wow. He does. And if for those of you, that match came about because if for those of you who follow Watch This Fight, and you may not remember this, our last show before COVID, which was March 1st of 2020, Watch This Fight Purple. AJP defended against Hotshot Deshaun. Rick Recon was booked on that against Jamie Tucker. And at the, he beat Jamie Tucker. And at the end of that show, he had come out and challenged AJP. So we had set that match. It was supposed to be at Watch This Fight Blue that April, but of course, COVID and that. So that, that never happened. So when we were coming back, Rick said, "Hey, I believe I'm still owed a title shot." So we'll see what happens.
Good luck, AJP. Could you speak on AJP's title reign on the days he's been holding that championship, if you will, because I know it's up there.
It is. I mean, I can tell you exactly how many days because I have it here, but it's one of those things where it's kind of misleading, and he'll be the first one to tell you that, because unfortunately with COVID.
Yeah, but can we just take? We need to stop that with the champions, though. Even when I was interviewing the champions during COVID, we were trying to play that game. Does it count or does it not? Is there an asterisk or is there not? I just say, if you're a champion, you're a champion. You have the possession of that belt. You've never been beat. You call it what it is.
I don't think you put an asterisk. I agree with that. And I think there's more to being a champion than just the matches. You represent that, when you have that champion, you represent that that organization and how you carry yourself. And even when COVID was going on and we weren't wrestling, just how you would you take pride in it. So there's more than just matches, but the reality of it is for 2 years there, he was champion, but we just weren't able to have shows. So he hasn't, he's only defended it a few times. But I know he's excited to be back out there and represent us again and be out front and, be the, and put us back on the map, so to speak,
Well, if there's one thing that me and you can agree upon is AJP, he loves the attention. He loves that spotlight. So there's no way that he is not gearing up for this one. And I know in his head, he knows he's got something, ahead of him with Mr. Recon. So,
well, I mean, absolutely. Recon, Rick is, physically, he's a specimen. He's probably a bit more traveled than young AJ. Has probably faced more. How would I want to word this? He's probably been in the ring with more higher level talent than young AJ, just because of the way his career has gone and where he's traveled and stuff. But AJ's, so it's not going to be, AJ's going to have to step up his game for sure.
That is going to be one hell of a match. Not one hell of a match, but one hell of an event. You've put together some fantastic names. Again, I applaud you, sir. I applaud you.
Well, that's part of the challenge. No, part of the challenge, I guess you call it challenge, of we are blessed in the sort of Massachusetts, Rhode Island, even a little bit of Connecticut area where we're blessed to have lots of wrestling. There's lots of places you can see wrestling. The challenge with that is there's only a finite number of wrestlers. The pool is not huge, so you can see these guys on a lot of areas, a lot of different shows. So sometimes it's a challenge to put together some stuff that a lot of the fans around here don't always see. Let's come up with something new, and whether that's bringing somebody in from a little further out, a little bit, just sort of some I don't want to say not like unknown talent, but let's bring some new faces in, some new so that's always fun. And
there's two things that I wanted to speak upon that we haven't spoke on. First off, I wore this beautiful shirt because I love me some Middlesex Express, and it's been a minute since I've seen them two together live. But I have seen them together recently for different events.
Yes.
They've done their thing and whatnot. I did not hear their name on your card.
No, the Middlesex Express won't be there. However, Stephen Lust will be.
Okay.
So, but he will be in solo action against the young man, Zachariah Gibbs.
Oh, are you... Zachariah Gibbs gonna die. Why would you do that to that poor boy? Oh my God! Good luck, my man. wow, he's billed as weighing in at 1/2 cow, but there, I don't know. Stephen Lust is a tall order,
There, in
Uh,
a little bit of watch this fight trivia. So there was in 2016, the origins of Watch This Fight. We may have spoken on this before, so I'll just say briefly. The origins of Watch This Fight go back to 2016. I lost a friend of mine to cancer. We got some wrestling friends together to put on a show to raise some money for his kids, but more it was just to give these kids just lost their father. Let's give these kids a day to have fun, be kids, cheer, and all that. So that was in 2016. And then in 2018 is when Watch This Fight officially began. So there is one wrestler who was on that 2016 show and has been on every show since of Watch This Fight since 2018.
I'm just, since we left off with him, I'm just going to say Stephen Lust.
That's it. Stephen Lust. The right stuff, Stephen Lust, Just Lust, whatever whatever you want to call him. He is so he is we call him the Iron Man of Watch This Fight because he is there every show and he's a true professional to work with and he's but he's Gibbs is young Zachariah might he'll be churning some butter, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe with only one arm. Before I speak on the next name, guys like Lust and some of the talent that you've had the pleasure of getting on to Watch This Fight to donate their time because this is a charitable thing.
Yes.
Not all wrestlers are like that. So these the talented people that come on these events, they have a warm heart besides their art form, if you will. There's a lot of athletes out there that just don't. But I love to see the talent that are just right there. Please, when is the date I will make time? And I've seen it for Watch This Fight specifically. And I love all of that about Watch This Fight and the talent that it brings. And the other name I wanted to bring up was there's a match with Coach Will and my man, Ryan Frosty, and the infamous, if you will. I love me some Frosty from day one, whether he's an angry Frost or as of late, he's kind of changed his ways around these parts. Beat up on some TJ Howell. That was some of the best times of my life. But you have Ryan Frost going against Coach Will.
Yeah, Ryan is a guy that I'm trying to think of where I first met Ryan. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Maybe I can help you. Himself and TJ were actually working some RICW up at the Chop Shop too. So maybe that's a possibility because if I'm not mistaken, you are a referee that have worked plenty of stuff up at the old Chop Shop. So that's a possibility.
I did, but and you could be right because sometimes my brain you take a few hits over the years, take a few too many bumps. But I want to say I think the first time I met Ryan might have been at Wrestle Party in Providence. Sully Bang, he was running those shows, but it could have been at the Chop Shop. But anyway, super nice guy and was always. He was the guy that was like when I met him, he was like, "Oh, I want to be involved with Watch This Fight." But it was like the timing of things where, when I met him, like I think the next show I just didn't have any room on the card, and then of course the world went sideways, and so when we were coming back, and I was starting to book this show, I actually ran into Ryan the last time I saw you at that Shut Up and Wrestle show a couple of months ago. We just happened to, myself and Ben just happened to be like, hey, we have nothing going on today. Let's go awesome. check out Shut Up and Wrestle. And then of course, like any true, wrestling professional, got the gear bag in the car and I walked in and, and they said, hey, you got your gear, okay.
Yes. And I know we're on a topic of Mr. Ryan Frost, but just pause for a second and tell the fans whose match you had to referee out of everybody that was there, out of any match that could have happened at Shut Up and Wrestle, whose match did you have to referee, my friend?
Buff Inc.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Buff Inc., Buff Dad, Had you seen, and I know you weren't there, but RWA a couple of months ago, when it was the losers, Sean, Tom, Isana, and myself in an 8-man against Buff Inc. and Pumpalicious? Did you see the results of that?
I did kind of see some of that action. It was turned. It was thrown to me by. It was thrown to me by my sister, LC, Laura C. She was like, "You got to check this shit out."
I believe one referee, hit a stunner on one Buff Dad, if I'm not mistaken. But anywho,
Warms the cockles in my heart. Oh my goodness.
On a side note, I was like, somebody after WrestleMania, and somebody had posted a clip of the Vince McMahon awkward stunner. We'll call it. Vince is 150 years
that was
old.
that was very kind of you.
And so in the comments, I put the little clip of myself, stunning Buff Dad, which was, he took a slightly better stunner than Vince did. But anyhow, but yeah. Well, I show up at Shut Up and Wrestle, and they're, oh, hey, you want to, you have your, yeah, of course, and of course the Buffs, they're,
But Frosty's one of those guys, though, of the talent we speak of. He just wants to donate his time.
Right. And at that show, he was like, oh, hey, when's the next thing? And I said, hey, actually, we got one coming up. And, so Coach Will, I don't know if you've seen much of Coach Will. He's good talent. He's got a, he's one of these guys that I've known Will a long time. We actually trained together when we both started training with Brick House. Will was part of that. And, he's put in the work, and he's coming along. And so I think it'll be a good match for him. I think it'll be a good, the two of them should have some fun in there.
My last times over at the Chop Shop 2 were definitely, obviously, pre-COVID, but I want to say not close to the end there, but like the year probably 2018-ish, 2019-ish. Because I remember a legacy I went to, I want to say that was actually 2018. Mm-hmm. And then I was doing some MAW stuff there. Mm-hmm. I believe I did there was something else that was running there, but I believe I sprinkled some shows in there. So it's been a minute for me. But I think I've only seen Coach Will one time and one time only at said Chop Shop 2.
Right. So he's a regular at RWA. If you're ever able to kind of come down this way and and catch an RWA, we're always running shows there. He's really been doing pretty well over there, and I said let's give him a shot.
And since you mentioned Coach Will, and I know Coach Will is going to hate me for this. Oh my God, he's going to hate me. But it is what it is. But I have love for Coach Will, because there's been a pain in his ass, a thorn in his side, a needle in his eye. Yeah. Called One Coach C. Yeah. And that. Wow. Now, I'm going to speak of a little rivalry in a couple minutes, but. That rivalry between Coach C and Coach Will, I think that's a never-ending thing.
I don't know how it started, because they both have Coach on them. If I was, if we were on like one of those TV, Judge Judy shows, and who gets the name Coach, I would tend to lean towards Will, only because Will is an actual Little League coach. That's where it came from. He coaches the Mount Pleasant Little League. In real life, he is Coach Will. There are a number of young baseball players in North Providence or the Mount Pleasant Little League that Coach Will is their coach. So if I was,
that adds a little more legitimacy, if you will. I didn't mean to bring up Coach C. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I know sometimes we like to, we sort of, we play a lot, but sometimes we take that little peek behind the curtain. And in real life, the young man who behind Coach C is what you talk about, sharing and promoting. This kid, he shares everything. He pushes, he promotes everything. He does a lot of that stuff that we were talking about earlier. If you want to, that young man actually, I think he shares more of our events and posts and than some of the guys on the show.
I have spoken on said topic many a time, actually, because of his passion to get the word out there, to get the news out there, to try to get the peeps and the eyes on the product, So I always give Coach C props for that, always and forever I will. But we were speaking, you're a referee. That's actually, I've seen, that's how I met you, was at the Chop Shop. You're ref, or maybe XWA, one of the two. I'm not really sure where I actually first met you. But I've had this thing going on with a fellow zebra of yours, and I just want to just speak upon it real quick, because I kind of squeezed him in this evening after our shindig here.
Yeah.
I've got one Q, the ref, coming on, stirring the pot, and there's been some kind of rivalry going on. I guess it's because of my mouth. I don't know why, but it kind of has stemmed from such. And I just wanted to kind of just take a moment right here, boys and girls, Mr. Carcieri. If this is the last STP you ever see me do, tell my mother I love her. My love, Cindy Hart, my daughter, my nephew and such. Please tell my family that I love them, and I had a good run.
Am I I don't mean to interrupt you, but you mentioned your daughter. Am I not mistaken? Do you have a grandchild on the way? Is that
the end of me, my man? Holy yes.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
I didn't mean to. I don't mean to bring up a chest pain or anything like that.
No, grandson Hunter. This will be my first grandchild. He's been healthy right through. She's is all she says is I waddle and I can't stand it. And she's cute as a button. And it's supposed to be at the very tail end of May, but in all honesty, we really do think Hunter may be coming a few weeks early, maybe, by the way it looks and how she's been acting and such. But thank you so much for that. I do appreciate the congratulations.
But anyway, yes. So back to Q. Back to your rivalry with Q. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you for the reminder with Q. Yeah. We've been having this thing going on the old book and such, and I'm going to be interviewing him, and I'm just kind of nervous is all. And I know, you are aware of Q. You've actually shared said events with Q and whatnot.
I think we have been on, I know we did Shut Up and Wrestle together, and I think that might have been the only event that we've been on together. We've met a couple times, and I'm going to tell you, outside of his stripes, sharp dresser. I was going to say that he is got some style. I've seen him.
Yes.
I saw him with this like coat with this fur collar, and I was the man knows how to dress.
Yes, let's lift him up. Yes, let's lift. Yes, that's excellent. Yes. All aside, very sharp dresser, model-esque, if you will. He does these things. I've seen him do movie parts and such. Heel shit apparel with Alex Rojas and his son Jeter. They have that going on, and he's kind of one of their deals. Their clients, if you will, is one Ref Q. I like to call him Ref Q because he hates it, because it's really Q the ref, and everybody calls him Ref Q, and it's hilarious. But yeah, that's what the heel shit and Ref Q, they have a relationship there. Yeah, I will agree with you because I'm a slob. I wear t-shirt and jeans. That's all I ever wear. So it is what it is.
Not a commentary on that. That's mostly what I wear. I was just saying that
No. Yeah, so that's happening tonight. So we'll see where that goes. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and tell me if I'm wrong, have you ever been in the ring as an active wrestler?
Yes. I've done a couple of things. Most recently in that 8-man at RWA. Um, but I may have in the past. There has been a wrestler out there under a mask that seems to resemble me a little bit.
Okay.
Shall
Okay.
we say?
Okay.
No, I think we could say that. I don't think it's any secret that I have had an alter ego in the past of one giant grasshopper.
I wanted to bring it up a while ago when we spoke upon such topic, but I was afraid to bring it up, and it just opened up that book. My friend, please, please, oh, please tell us the giant grasshopper. What is the origin? Why was your character the giant grasshopper? I've been wanting to ask you that for you don't know how long.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So it started because years ago, when I started training with Brickhouse, I walked into training, and Brickhouse was like, and I knew Teach, and I said I want to learn how to be a referee, and he said that's great. He said, but if you're going to be a referee, you have to learn how to wrestle. It'll make you a better referee. I said, okay. So every week I'd go to training, and we would, I would learn all the wrestling, whatever. So Brickhouse used to have a promotion called House of Bricks out in like southeastern Massachusetts, sort of Fairhaven and New Bedford area. And all of Brickhouse's students, that's where you all started at House of Bricks. So one day I had been training for a little while, maybe only a couple of months, and there was a battle royal. So Brickhouse, okay, you're in the battle royal. Now, the Grasshopper Mask, I had the mask. I got the mask from a couple years ago. Ben and I had the privilege of meeting the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, and his wife Angel. Super nice people. I mean, Jimmy is Hall of Famer, legendary wrestler, however you want to say. And he and his wife Angel are super nice people. Went down to Boogie's wrestling camp, spent some time with his family. And we've kept in contact with them over the years. On a side note, Angel she makes wrestling gear. She has Angel Valiant's wrestling gear. So okay. I had always been a fan of Lucha Libre and masked wrestlers. So I asked Angel to make me a mask just because I wanted a mask. So fast forward to now, I'm going to be in this battle royal from Brickhouse. And I said, can I wear my mask? And he said, let me see it. So I put the mask on, and he said, yeah. And he said, you are the giant grasshopper. So Brickhouse gave me the name.
Shut up.
And that was it. I was the giant grasshopper. So for a couple of years, at House of Bricks and RWA, and, every once in a while I'd pop up in different areas, whether it was a battle royal or, Ben and I, we had a tag team match against Two Buff and Buff Dad at RWA. It was the Giant Grasshopper and BC Kid versus Buff Inc. And so I pop up here and there as just for some fun. And I like any wrestler, I've retired a couple of times, but it was like December of 2019, the last House of Bricks show. We had a battle royal. Giant Grasshopper won the battle royal, and I said, that's it. It wasn't going to get any better than that. I was in the middle of the ring. My good friend Jeremy Bell, who unfortunately we lost a couple of months ago, he's raising my hand. I said, it's not going to get any better than that, So I said, no more Giant Grasshopper. And then right before COVID, at the Chop Shop, we had a Brickhouse Baker. It was the Brickhouse student showcase. So I said, okay, one more time. So I put the mask on, wrestled Harry Brooks. And then I said, that was it until, then RWA, oh, how about, BC Kid and Giant Grasshopper versus Buff Inc. Well, I can't say no to that. I mean, and how many times am I going to get to tag team with my son? So it was like, okay, so one more time. So you never say never. I don't know if we'll ever see him again, but you never know. The right opportunity, the mask is right there. I just throw it on,
Well, it seems there's a correlation between the BC Kid and Buff Inc. that really brings you back for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just figured I'd take a stab with that
Oh,
question
that's
and
fine.
see where
It's
it
fine.
went.
I don't. It was funny because if you asked me those questions, a couple of years ago, I would really I would still kind of play the game of, the kayfabe. Oh no, I don't know. Somebody asked me once.
Yeah.
I was on a podcast, and he was asking the same thing. He said, have you ever wrestled?" And I said, and at that time I had wrestled once. Will, actually, he was a referee at the time. Now he's Coach Will. But Will and I had a ref match because we had a little little rivalry going. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I wrestled Will once. We had this ref match." And the gentleman doing the podcast was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, that's it." He's like, I totally was like, "Nope." But now it's not like it's a secret. But we talk about it now. It's fun. It's just one of those things. It's in the guys at the fire department and everything, and guys, people in my life, sometimes they think I'm a little strange. They're like, "What?" And I said, it's I tell you, being involved with wrestling over the last, almost 10 years now is it's been fantastic. It's some of my best friends in the world I've met through wrestling, and when I have, many of us go through things. And a couple of years ago, I went through some things in my life that were very difficult, and that family of wrestling, of going to the chop shop on the weekend and seeing those people and being in that environment helped me through some really difficult stuff. So,
Absolutely.
one of my best friends in the world, T Phoenix, and I've known him for, 10 years, and he's inside and outside of wrestling. He's one of my best friends, and one of those guys that I know is there for me anytime I need, and he can always call on me. And I know him because of wrestling.
Uh, Seeing BC Kid in ring, uh,
Yeah.
growing from your little boy to a young man.
Yeah.
Seeing him in ring, what's that do to a father that's in the business? Seeing him wanting to be in the business as well.
Yeah. It makes it makes me very proud. It makes me proud to see him chasing his dreams and watching him progress from where he started to going through training, and and where he is today. He unfortunately, like everything post COVID, when we don't have the chop shop, so we don't have that regular training we used to do. So he's still trying to, he's a sponge and he wants to go learn and do everything. We're trying to figure out where can he kind of get back into some regular training, but he's always out there, and just watching him progress and watching him his personality when he's in the ring, and and he's doing the work, as far as that, whenever, I'm lucky that, as a referee, that whether it's RWA, whether it's NCW, NRG, I've been lucky enough to, top rope XWA, to been able to get to some, and he's always there with me, and it's, helping to break down the ring at the end of the night. And that's, people notice that because now at NCW, which is a great promotion, and NCW, he's gotten a couple of, into a couple of battle royals, but that's how everybody starts. They're
Right.
like, Ben's always there helping set up and break down. So it's like, we got a battle royal. Ben, you got your gear, and of course, he always does. So so it's been good for him. It's been good for him, and
That's awesome.
and as, like I said, as a father, to kind of watch that. The funny thing is, so his mother, she's going to be at the show on Friday. This is only the second time she's seen him wrestle, not because she's not supportive, not because she's not a great mother or anything, but the first show she went to, he took a super kick from AJ Hot, and I thought his mother was going to have a heart attack. So she's kind of stayed away. She's like, I can't, she's a mom. I get it, he took this super kick from AJ Hot, and AJ laid him out, and but his mother's coming on Friday, so that'll be good. I said, She
That's
was.
got that,
Is it going to be? Is it going to? I say he's fine. He's going to be good. You know, you come. He's going to be in there, and that's another thing. Like as you know, as a father, as a promoter, you know, I want him to be involved, and I want him to grow and to learn. So, you know, if I'm going to book him, I'm going to book him in a match where, like, you know, he's in there with Rob the Giant. Who Rob is as good as they come. Rob is true professional. He's wrestled all over the world. He, you know,
I was just going to say that he is as professional as they come.
right. You know, and Mighty Bosch, you know, Bosch, you know,
well.
is great. And when Bosch came back to wrestling, he was training at the Chop Shop with us. So, you know, so he's known Ben his whole journey in wrestling. And, you know, Mr. Liftington is just fantastic. So, you know, I'm as a promoter, you know, and as a dad, you know, I'm gonna put him in an environment where he's going to learn, because he's going to be with people that he's going to learn from, and he's, you know, going to learn the right way. I'm not going to put him in a situation where it's, you know, I'm worried about his safety or anything like that. Not to say he's, you know, they're going to go soft on him, but you know what I'm saying. They're professional. They know what's going on, and that there's a difference between, you know, being with guys that are professional and know how to do this than, you know, they're just throwing them to the wolves, you know.
Safety is number one, my man. Safety is number one. I feel all of what you just said there. And to reiterate, those talents that he's just mentioned, if you boys and girls that are watching this, if you've never heard some of the names that Mr. Carcieri has listed off or we've been talking about, type them up.
Yeah.
You know, check them out if there's new talent that you've never heard of. That's how we network and get to see more talent, more promotions and such. Same thing with some of the promotions he's mentioned. Go ahead, Mr.
No, I was just going to say it's specifically Rob, because Rob I met through NCW, and Rob is, you know, he's from the Rhode Island area, so that's, you know, and I met him through NCW. But he's a guy that's, his career, if you know Rob the Giant, again, he's wrestled all over the world. He's done, you know, things involved with WWE. He does the Midget Warriors of Wrestling touring all over the world. Like, Rob is a traveled professional, and he, you know, and a great guy, and just a you know, great guy to be around. And
absolutely, that tour you're speaking of, the Warriors of Wrestling, those guys, I've had Short Sleeve Samson, the main the main guy over there, and I've had Rob the Giant on the show, and I am telling you, just to have those two guys on was simply, it was fantastic, because you heard some of the WWE stuff that Short Sleeves went through, but Short Sleeves is not one of those guys that, you know, berades people or berades or whatever. And he just told us some cool stories. Same thing with Robbie. He told us some cool stories. Professionalism all around. And seeing that company specifically thrive with some of the talent that's being featured right now on their tour, I just love everything they're doing over there. And one of the first, I felt like an asshole, but I mean, I had to ask because I didn't want to be an asshole. I go, so, I mean, I know the word midget is in everything that you guys do, but is it cool to like call you guys midgets? I mean, I don't want to start off on the wrong foot. And he goes, oh no, not the M word kind of thing, you know?
That's, you know, and I've wanted, that's a conversation I've wanted to have with Rob, but I never had the opportunity, because it is something, you know, in this day and age, language is sometimes language is a thing. Sometimes verbiage that was okay 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, we as a society have said, you know what, that they're the origins of that word. We don't like it. We don't.
Right.
Midget is one of those things that, you know, years ago, it was just a word, but you know, I've never had the conversation with Rob. It is an interesting one though, you know, like it is, but they you know, they are the midget. Is it the Midget Warriors of Wrestling or whatever, you know?
Yes.
So.
Yes, it's right within their name. That's why I had to ask the man himself, Mr. Sampson, because he's the guy, you know? So I was like, to have him come on, and he doesn't do interviews. That's what struck me when he returned. A, when he returned my message, and B, when he was like, you know, I don't do interviews, but, you know, this sounds like some fun. And I'm like, I'm like marking out over here. I'm like, are you shitting me right now? I'm going to get Short Sleeve Samsons on STP? Come on. So once I had him on the show, I'm like, I would love to have at least one more person from their organization on.
Yeah.
What better person than one of our local friends, Rob the
Right.
Giant? I mean, so that was a no-brainer as well. So it was really so stoked to have both of those guys on. And not only that, Mr. Carcieri, we celebrated 6,000 subscribers some time back for for my channel on YouTube. And Stephen Baker, I know who you know who that is.
Yeah.
He wanted to organize this game show, and this was a total brainchild of his.
Yeah.
All of the questions, all of the setup, everything that was going on was the brainchild of one Stephen Baker, and I love him to pieces for this. And we had on contestants. We had on the likes of Rob the Giant. We had Ryan Frost. We had Stevie Legend. And we had the one and only Izzy Star as our 4 contestants.
Yeah.
I kept score. Steve Baker was our host with a little mock microphone and a jacket and everything.
Yeah.
A board with questions on it with 3 different rounds. And he had his own Vanna White who would tell people to fuck off when they lost. So the only reason why I bring that up is having Rob, when I reached out to say, hey, Rob, we got this funky thing going on. Would you mind being part of it? And he said yes. I was like, yes, this is going to be so much fun. He is such a good dude. I love him to pieces.
Yeah, you know, and Steve, I haven't seen Steve in a while. He, you see him on social media, and he's doing something different now. He's got this store and everything. And I will say, Steve, one of the most creative people I have met in a long time. His brain is, there's a lot going on up there, and he's very creative. And you know, we'll see if you know, if you ever see a return of King Leon, who knows? But very creative guy. So, you know, the game show, I can see where you're going with that. You know, he's
unbelievable. What a lost artist we have right now. I know he's doing his own thing, and I know you have to do your own thing for very personal reasons. But my goodness, us fans, we are losing such a beautiful artist. I mean, he is everything to that man is basically a blank canvas. Boys and girls, I kid you not. This guy can come up with some crazy, cool, fun, just really creative and beautiful artistic stuff, promo wise. His look, his presentation, the way he speaks. He had a lackey, if you will, called Squire. I mean, the creativity was nonstop with this guy. It was just absolutely beautiful, and I miss him so dearly.
Yeah. And you know, everybody's got has their own journey, and you know, we wish them the best. And you know, it's funny though that there was a period of time where, and I know King Leon went through some, you know, evolution like a lot of characters do. And this is my own personal opinion. There was a period of time where I likened it to, remember the story The Emperor's New Clothes, when King Leon, the character, it was like there was a period of time where it was like the character thought he was the greatest thing, you know, he was the ultimate king, he was the greatest thing, but there was a sense of he couldn't tie his shoes without Squire. Like the Squire was really the one behind. And I thought when Steve and Paul, they had for a little period of time, there was some really good chemistry where it was really working, and you know, and then, you know, for whatever reason, that's just my opinion, but that time period where it was like that it was the king, you know, and he presented himself as the, you know, the king of Behedja and everything, but you knew that behind the scenes it was Squire, you know, really, and that's when the character worked really well for me. But you know, we'll see what happens.
Like you said, the chemistry was amazing because when a wrestler gets into the ring, he walks up the steps, he wipes his feet respectfully before getting into the ring. No. Not this guy. He would get up to the apron, have Squire get up to the apron, wipe his feet on Squire, and then get into those little things. Mr. Carcieri just really got me. Those are the things that really pulled me in to what those guys were doing at that time.
At couple months ago at RWA at the Renegade Rumble, it was a big surprise who was going to be the number 30 entrant. And it's in the Rumble, and I'm a referee. I'm out at the ringside like a good referee. Number 30 came out, and the music hit, and it was Squire, and the place went, but it was one of the biggest pops I've ever seen. The place went crazy. Like, it was like nobody expected it to be Squire, and all of a sudden here's Squire. Like, we hadn't seen him in a long time, and and the RWA faithful, they gave him quite an ovation.
Wow,
he's a good guy. Paul is a very
awesome.
good guy.
That is very, very cool. The Rhode Island scene, I've spoken upon it so many times in my interviews with other talent in different areas and whatnot. Some that are associated with, and some that aren't associated with the Rhode Island scene.
Yeah.
The characters that were going through the Chop Shop too were just simply off the charts.
Yeah.
I could name names, but it would probably take about another hour or so. Just great times, memories, talents that I've seen there as a fan. And I didn't go there as often as I would like to, because it was a solid 2 hours away from me, but I was making that trek pretty religiously once a month at least for a while.
The Chop Shop, there was a period of time where the Chop Shop, I don't want to say had a bad reputation. There was a period of time where it was, some people had an opinion of, they kind of mill wrestling, whatever. And you know what? All that aside, I said, when the Chop Shop, I had made a post on Facebook when, unfortunately, the world, we lost the Chop Shop as because of COVID and things like that. I said the Chop Shop was a place for young people to, hone your craft, follow your dreams. It was also a place where there has been a lot of talent that came through the Chop Shop and then went on to, bigger places. And I'm just going to name a couple here. You might watch, there's this little show on Wednesday nights called AEW Dynamite. And you might have seen this tag team on, these two guys, Santana and Ortiz. Let me tell you where they started on in New York. They were from New York, a couple of guys, and they spent a little time in an organization we're going to call the RWA. Like in the Chop Shop, Santana and Ortiz, they were EYFBO at the time.
Yes, EYFBO.
And then they, God bless them, they've gone on to bigger, thing. Ace Romero, came through the Chop Shop. A lot of these guys have, Mainstay Posse, MSP, when they were branching out from Maine and kind of branching out to the area. One of the first places they came to was the Chop Shop in RWA. And you like to see these guys come in and then go on, we are, those of us in RWA, we know where we are in the hierarchy of professional wrestling. So it's good when you see guys come in and then go on and be successful. You want that, so it's a place where, people learn their craft, and then, it can be an introduction to this area for other talent and branching out. So it's
absolutely. And I'm just going to sprinkle in Anthony Green in there.
Yeah. Yeah, AG is he's a guy that he's been in this area a long time. He started really young. He's probably a 13, 14-year-old kid, breaking down the ring, just like most of us, breaking down the ring, and and a lot of guys in this area have known AG a long time and happy for his success. But he's also a guy that he has not, the old expression, don't forget where you came from. AG has not forgotten where he came from,
That is absolute, because, seeing him with the path from the Indies to NXT and then now back to the Indies, he's taking and embraced that. It's not like he's this guy, like you're saying. He's humble. He knows where he comes from, and he knows a lot of the people that were here when he was rolling around before he went to NXT are still doing their thing. So he's associating with that same crowd. I mean, within some more new talent, of course.
Right.
But he definitely has embraced it, and he's not bitter about whatever did or did not happen in his career, and he's embraced it.
Yeah, it's funny, and I can't, I've never worked for Vince McMahon. I don't know what it's like, and a lot of us, and we were WrestleMania weekend, and so we're talking about things, we're watching Mania because of course we all do, and we're having time. And I'm not gonna pretend to know any more than Vince McMahon, But sometimes as fans, we may question things. You may say like a guy like Anthony Green, like why, what was wrong there, or let's why are we dragging out Goldberg for the 30,000th time and letting a kid like AG go, but we don't know all the decisions and why the decisions are made, but but in my experience, Anthony, I've never heard him, whether he's thought it privately or talked privately, I've never heard him publicly say anything bad about his time there, and he seems very appreciative for what he learned while he was there, and now he's moving on, and he's popping up in AEW, and the kid's got talent, so that's not sometimes we don't, as fans, we may not agree or we may not understand some of these decisions that these big companies make, but
that everybody wants to play Booker, but I'll tell you, man, once you get into that seat, you're like, holy shit. So I've never been, I've always stated I'm not one of those fans that knows. I'm just a fan, bro. Just a fan. I do not pretend to know. Mr. Carcieri, we have been talking just a smidge over 1 hour, and I know we could go on and on about wrestling and the people that we know and the people that we've seen lifted up on a different platform and such. I know your time, my time, we all have our own thing going on. Is there anything that I haven't spoken upon this evening that you wanted to bring to the table?
Nothing specific other than, now that, the world seems to be, coming back to whatever we want to call it. And we've been lucky that wrestling is back, for the fan. And I'm just encouraging all the fans to get out to wherever you are. There's shows everywhere. If you're in Rhode Island, we've got, the RWA, we've got NCW, we've got Watch This Fight. I've been to, like Shut Up and Wrestle. They're doing some good stuff there. New World Wrestling Extreme. They're doing a lot of good stuff. There is the men and women who are the artists that are, out there performing, they're working their butts off, and just want to encourage people to go out and support it. It's an amazing thing, and we love WWE and AEW, and we love to see that on television, but you get out to these shows and you never know who you're going to see. You never know that the person you might see in that ring at that VFW hall, not too in the not too distant future, you might see them on your TV. Whether it's at AEW Dark or something like that. A gentleman that I have been lucky enough to work some of his matches at Top Rope and stuff. Teddy Goods, really nice guy. One of my favorite guys to work with in the ring, because Teddy works. He works fast. He works a lot, as we call it, on the fly in the business. So as a referee, it keeps me on my toes. I have to be very aware. It keeps me on my toes, keeps me sharp. So I love working with Teddy. And just this week, like on Monday, he was on AEW Dark Elevation, and then I believe tonight he's on AEW Dark Wrestling again.
So,
yes, very nice guy that I've had the pleasure of working with a couple of times. But so, to be a fan or be involved in, and you're out at these shows, and then again you see these guys, having, they might be the next guy you see on TV. So it's absolutely. I just encourage everybody to go out there and support what's going on. And these men and women work hard, and they're out there, busting, putting their bodies on the line and everything to perform what they love, their art, this is what their passion is, and just get out and support it wherever you are.
I can't imagine a better message to end this beautiful conversation that we had with our friend, Mr. Nic Carcieri. I mean, we talked, like I said, we were going to use Watch This Fight as a nucleus. But what fine conversation we had tonight,
Thank you.
boys and girls.
I'm happy to have been part of the return of STP, we'll say. And thank you for allowing me a little time to talk about Watch This Fight. And I don't know if you need some time to prepare for Q. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was gonna kind of end this with, because I wanted to do 10 interviews in 10 days.
Yeah.
This week, next week, and just crank them right out.
Sure.
I didn't schedule anybody last night. So Q would have been my first if I would have scheduled someone.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I had a buffer of my friend Nic Carcieri, because I'm going to give him a call after we're done here. And if he answers, I'm screwed. But yeah, we're going to see where all of that goes. Mr. Carcieri, I cannot thank you so much. I mean, I do thank you so much for your time, all the information you gave us. Boys and girls, if you're in the Rhode Island area, head out over to the event. If you're not, take a little drive. I would, but I get out of work at 4 o'clock with other family activities, and there's no way I could make that. I don't go late. If I can't make it on time, I just don't go. That's just me personally. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll get you out this way, for RWA or something on a weekend. We'll get you.
Yes.
I know you're a busy man. I mean, there's always, there's always, you're always everywhere, and there's a lot of shows. But maybe one of these we'll get you to the the American Legion in Riverside for RWA or something.
We absolutely have to reconnect, my man. It's been way too long, for sure. What a smiling face to end this beautiful conversation. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Nic Carcieri.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. All right. Take care.